And as this dramatic week continues, the energy does not slow down at all. Behind every smiling photo, behind every strong speech, and behind every viral clip, there are deeper battles taking place. Power is being tested, loyalty is being measured, and the public is watching more closely than ever before. What started as a weekend of basketball and Valentine's romance has now turned into a full-scale political storm that refuses to calm down. The investigation debates are not fading away. Lawmakers continue to question how millions of pages of sensitive documents are being handled. Why were there so few computers available for review? Why did it take so long for certain details to come out? Why do some answers feel delayed? These questions are not disappearing. Every time new information surfaces, it creates fresh headlines and fresh tension. Transparency is a word used often in Washington, but transparency only works when access feels fair and open. When it does not, suspicion grows quickly. Some members of Congress argue that the real focus should be on accountability for powerful figures whose names appear in controversial files. Others argue that procedures must be respected and that releasing everything without review could cause legal chaos. The disagreement shows the deep divide in political strategy. One side pushes for speed, the other pushes for control. The public stands in the middle, waiting for clarity. As we look toward the midterm elections, the pressure increases. Campaign teams are already preparing ads, fundraising emails are being sent daily, messaging is being carefully crafted. Every vote in Congress now carries extra weight because it could influence voter perception. If control of the House or Senate changes, committee leadership will change too. That means new investigations, new agendas, and new priorities. Political power in America often shifts quickly, and leaders know that time can be limited. Trade disputes remain a serious topic as well. Tariffs on Canada and other nations continue to spark debate. Supporters believe strong trade policies defend American industries and jobs. Critics argue that higher tariffs can increase prices for everyday consumers and strain long-term relations with allies. When even members of the same party disagree publicly, it shows that economic policy is not simple. It affects farmers, factory workers, small businesses, and international partners. Each decision creates ripple effects across the economy. Environmental changes are also at the center of attention. The rollback of major climate findings has been described as historic by supporters and dangerous by critics. The Environmental Protection Agency plays a powerful role in shaping how industries operate. When long-standing scientific conclusions are challenged, it sends a message not only inside the country but around the world. Climate agreements, investment strategies, and energy markets all respond to these signals. For some people, deregulation means opportunity. For others, it means risk. The health sector continues to generate unexpected headlines. Public trust in leadership is fragile. When officials speak casually about controversial past behavior, reactions spread instantly across social media. Supporters frame it as honesty and authenticity. Critics see it as poor judgment. In modern politics, perception can be just as powerful as policy. One sentence can shape a narrative for weeks. The possible government shutdown adds urgency to everything. Federal workers wait to see if their departments will remain funded. Homeland security operations hang in the balance. Negotiations between parties are intense and often private. Democrats are pushing for reforms to enforcement policies. Republicans insist on maintaining strict security measures. Both sides claim they are protecting the nation. The difference lies in how they interpret responsibility and fairness. The reform proposals focus on respecting rights, ensuring accountability, and creating consistent procedures. These ideas sound reasonable to many citizens, but turning principles into law requires compromise, and compromise is difficult in a deeply divided political climate. Each side fears appearing weak to its voters. Each side wants to claim victory. That tension makes even basic agreements hard to reach. Outside of Washington, the cultural world keeps moving. The All-Star Weekend in Los Angeles brings celebrities, athletes, and fans together. The city glows with excitement. At the same time, Valentine's Day fills restaurants and social media feeds with images of romance and celebration. The contrast between bright lights and political tension feels dramatic, but this is modern America. Joy and controversy exist side by side. Television continues to deliver strange and unforgettable moments. Sports interviews become awkward. Podcast clips go viral. Political sound bites are replayed again and again. In seconds, a simple remark can become a trending topic worldwide. Humor blends with seriousness. Entertainment blends with hard news. Viewers scroll from a romantic dinner photo to a heated congressional debate within the same minute. The information cycle never stops. For many Americans, the challenge is understanding what truly matters. Gas prices, grocery costs, job security, immigration rules, and environmental safety all affect daily life. These are not abstract debates. They shape family budgets and future plans. While politicians argue in hearing rooms, ordinary people are trying to pay bills and plan for tomorrow. That gap between political drama and everyday reality is something voters feel deeply. There is also a growing awareness that history moves in cycles. Power rises and falls. Parties win and lose. Policies change and then change again. Leaders who appear strong today may face limits tomorrow. Midterm elections have shifted control many times before. The possibility of becoming a lame duck president is part of the American political structure. Influence can shrink quickly when congressional support disappears. What makes this moment unique is the speed. News spreads instantly. Public reactions form within minutes. Online debates grow larger than traditional press conferences. Every action is recorded. Every statement is analyzed. Leaders must operate in a world where nothing stays hidden for long. That reality adds pressure to every decision. As the weekend ends and the work week begins again, the questions remain. Will lawmakers reach a funding agreement before the deadline? Will environmental rollbacks face legal challenges? Will trade disputes escalate or calm down? Will investigations bring clearer answers? These are open questions, and the answers will shape the next chapter of this story. I am Kundi on Global USA News, and this is not just about one event or one headline. It is about a nation balancing celebration and conflict at the same time. It is about democracy in action, loud and imperfect. It is about accountability, power, loyalty, and public trust. The spotlight is bright, the pressure is real, and the next development could arrive at any moment. Stay informed. Stay engaged, because history does not pause. The decisions being made right now will echo far beyond this weekend. On Global USA News, we will continue to follow every twist, every vote, and every major announcement. The story is still unfolding, and we are only at the beginning of what could be an even more dramatic chapter ahead.
As we move deeper into this intense week, the political temperature keeps rising. Hearings continue in Washington, and lawmakers are demanding clearer answers about who knew what and when. The debate is no longer quiet, it is loud and public. Some members of Congress say they were shocked to learn that access to sensitive files was so limited. Millions of pages, yet only a handful of computers available for review. That detail alone has fueled suspicion. When transparency is promised, people expect full access, not obstacles. Critics argue that if the truth is strong, it should not need protection. Supporters say procedures were followed and that security always comes first. But the disagreement shows how fragile trust can be in high-level investigations. There is also growing tension between different branches of government. When lawmakers believe their actions are being monitored, it raises serious constitutional questions. In the United States system, power is divided for a reason. The executive branch enforces laws. The legislative branch creates them. If one branch appears to be watching the other too closely, it creates fear of imbalance. Some leaders have called it an oversight. Others call it something much more serious. The language may differ, but the concern remains. Trust between institutions is not automatic. It must be maintained. At the same time, political strategy is shaping every decision. With midterm elections on the horizon, both parties are calculating their moves carefully. Poll numbers, fundraising totals, and public reactions all matter. If control of Congress shifts, investigations could change direction. Committee leadership would change. Hearing schedules would change. Subpoenas could increase. The political chessboard is constantly moving. Each vote is not just about policy, it is also about positioning for the next campaign. Economic policy is another battlefield. Tariffs have once again become a major topic. Supporters say tariffs protect American workers and industries. Critics warn they increase prices for consumers and strain relationships with allies. When some lawmakers voted against new tariffs, it showed that party unity is not always guaranteed. Even within a single political party, there are divisions. Trade policy can unite and divide at the same time. The reaction from leadership was strong, but the vote itself sent a message. Not everyone agrees on the path forward. Environmental deregulation continues to create heated debate. Supporters of rolling back climate rules argue that businesses need freedom to grow. They believe regulations slow down economic progress. Opponents say climate science cannot be ignored. They argue that removing safeguards could harm future generations. The decision to challenge long-standing environmental findings has major implications. It affects energy companies, car manufacturers, global agreements, and local communities. The financial numbers are massive, but the long-term environmental cost is difficult to measure. That uncertainty adds to the anxiety many citizens feel. Meanwhile, headlines keep coming from the health sector as well. When top officials make unusual comments, it raises questions about leadership style and seriousness. In today's digital age, one sentence can travel around the world within minutes. Social media amplifies every remark. Supporters defend it as honesty. Critics see it as recklessness. Either way, public confidence in leadership is shaped by both policy decisions and personal behavior. The possibility of a government shutdown adds another layer of tension. When funding deadlines approach, federal workers and agencies begin to prepare for uncertainty. Homeland Security plays a critical role in national security and immigration enforcement. If funding pauses, even partially, it sends a signal of dysfunction. Negotiations are intense. Democrats are pushing for changes in enforcement policies, arguing that certain practices must align more closely with constitutional standards. Republicans say security must remain strong and uninterrupted. Both sides claim they are protecting the country. The difference lies in how they define protection. The reform plan presented includes basic principles that many Americans would agree with on the surface. Respect due process, avoid unnecessary force, follow consistent procedures, ensure accountability. These ideas sound simple, yet translating them into policy is complex. Every word in a bill matters. Every clause can be debated for hours. In Washington, nothing moves quickly without compromise, and compromise is often the hardest step. Outside of politics, the culture continues to mix seriousness with humor. Sports interviews turn into viral clips. Casual comments spark controversy. Entertainment shows blur lines between comedy and commentary. In one moment, people are laughing at awkward television moments. In the next moment, they are reading about investigations and policy battles. The contrast feels sharp, but it reflects modern media reality. News and entertainment share the same digital space. This week alone has shown how connected everything is. A basketball celebration in Los Angeles brings celebrities, athletes, and media attention to one place. Valentine's Day adds emotion and marketing to the mix. Political fundraising messages use romantic language to appeal to supporters. Hearings in Washington dominate headlines. Environmental rules are rewritten. Trade disputes intensify. Health officials make unexpected statements, and the possibility of a shutdown looms. All of it happens almost at once. Through it all, citizens are trying to make sense of the noise. Some focus on sports and celebration. Others focus on investigations and accountability. Many are simply trying to understand how these decisions affect their daily lives. Gas prices, grocery bills, job security, air quality, immigration policy. These are not abstract issues. They touch real families in real ways. I am Kundi on Global USA News, and what we are witnessing is more than just a series of random headlines. It is a powerful reminder that democracy is active, messy, and constantly evolving. There are celebrations and there are conflicts. There are promises and there are questions. The story is still unfolding. The debates are not finished. The votes are not final. The investigations are not complete. As the weekend approaches, Los Angeles will shine with bright lights from the basketball arena. Couples will sit across from each other at candlelit tables. Lawmakers will continue private negotiations behind closed doors. Journalists will search for the next detail that changes the narrative. And citizens across the country will keep watching, forming opinions, and deciding what matters most to them. Stay alert. Stay informed, because in times like these, every development counts. On Global USA News, we will continue breaking it down, following the facts, and bringing clarity to the chaos. The next chapter is already beginning.
What if I told you that one weekend in Los Angeles turned into a wild mix of sports, politics, love, drama, and chaos all at the same time? Stay with me because this story moves fast and every minute gets more intense. I'm Kundi, the host of the show on Global USA News. Thank you for watching and thank you for being here tonight. We are coming to you from our home in Los Angeles, California during All-Star Weekend on Sunday. This Sunday, our city is hosting the NBA All-Star Game. Some of you say you are going to the game this Sunday. I feel like at least half of you are not telling the truth, but that is fine. All the big stars are in town. Instead of the usual matchup between the East and the West, this year the teams are made up of Americans playing against players from the rest of the world. I have been waiting for someone to find another creative way to put America up against the world, and the league decided to make it happen. I will be watching carefully. Between the All-Star Game and Valentine's Day, there is going to be a lot of scoring this weekend. You know what I mean by scoring. Yes, I mean romance and relationships, that kind of scoring. Valentine's Day is on Saturday. Let me give you a quick reality check. Flowers are almost gone. Restaurant reservations are fully booked. If you forgot, you might be in serious trouble. But here's a simple money-saving tip. Instead of buying expensive candy hearts, you can write sweet messages on simple tablets and put them in a box. It may not be fancy, but at least it shows effort. Some political fundraising emails are also using Valentine's themes. One message says, "Do you still love me? I miss you." Then it asks people to take a poll. After that, it asks for money. And if you do not send money, another email says someone is sad. Then another one says heartbroken. The picture in the email does not look heartbroken at all. It looks more like someone who just ate too much. But if you want to cheer anyone up in politics, the fastest way is to send money. Money and power always go together. There are many clips of political leaders saying what they love. I love my signature. I love solving problems. I love strong borders. I love tariffs. I love farmers. I love different countries. I love different groups of people. The word love is used again and again. When someone repeats that word so many times, it almost becomes a performance. Passion in politics is loud, it is dramatic, and sometimes it feels like theater.
Meanwhile, there are reports about connections between powerful people and controversial figures from the past. Questions continue about why certain investigations took so long. People still ask who enabled certain behavior. They want to know if anyone else will ever face justice. These questions have not gone away. They're still being discussed in media, online, and in hearings. There are also stories about social events from years ago, where well-known figures attended gatherings with people who later became infamous. In politics, past associations often come back into the spotlight. On another front, there was a tense moment involving the Department of Justice and members of Congress. A photograph showed a folder with a title suggesting that search history was being tracked. It appeared that some lawmakers who were reviewing sensitive documents might have had their searches monitored. The idea that one branch of government could track the activity of another branch raises serious concerns. In the United States, there are 535 members of Congress, yet only 4 computers were reportedly set up for them to review millions of pages of documents. 4 computers for hundreds of lawmakers. That sounds almost unbelievable. A local public library can have more computers available than that. Critics argue that more effort seems to be spent tracking who reads the files than investigating the people inside those files. That is a troubling thought. At the same time, there are disagreements inside the House. Some members crossed party lines and voted against new tariffs on Canada. When that happened, there was strong reaction from leadership. Political tension is rising as midterm elections get closer. Many analysts believe that control of Congress could shift again. If that happens, the balance of power in Washington would change significantly. A president in the final stretch of a term without strong congressional support becomes what is called a lame duck. Influence becomes limited. Political energy shifts toward the next election cycle. In addition, environmental policy is once again at the center of debate. A previous finding from 2009 by the Environmental Protection Agency stated that carbon dioxide poses a danger to public health and the environment. Now there are efforts to roll back that finding. Officials describe it as one of the largest deregulation moves in American history. Supporters say it reduces burdens on industry and promotes economic growth. Opponents argue it weakens the government's ability to fight climate change. The financial impact is described in trillions of dollars. The political impact may be even greater. The Secretary of Health also made headlines recently by making a shocking comment about his past behavior. Statements like that grab attention immediately. They create viral moments online. They spark debate about judgment and credibility. When cabinet members say unexpected things, it adds to the sense that the political world is unpredictable. Now there's also the possibility of another government shutdown. This time it could involve funding for the Department of Homeland Security. If lawmakers do not reach an agreement by the deadline, parts of the department could temporarily close. Democrats are asking for policy changes related to immigration enforcement before approving more funding. Republicans have resisted those conditions. The requests include guidelines similar to what regular police officers follow during arrests. A 10-point reform plan was presented. The core message of that plan is simple. Don't violate rights. Don't ignore due process. Don't overstep authority. Those points may sound basic, but negotiations in Washington are rarely simple. As all of this unfolds, television continues to produce its own strange and funny moments. Every week there are clips that surprise viewers. Sometimes comments are awkward. Sometimes they're inappropriate. Sometimes they're just plain bizarre. Sports interviews, political panels, celebrity podcasts, a simple sentence can turn into a viral clip within seconds. The media cycle moves fast. One moment you're talking about championships and rings. The next moment you're discussing controversial meetings from years ago. Then suddenly a health story becomes a shocking headline. That's the world we're living in. Sports, romance, politics, investigations, environmental policy, and viral television moments all collide in the same week. Los Angeles hosts a major basketball event. Couples prepare for Valentine's dinners. Lawmakers argue over tariffs and climate policy. Agencies face funding deadlines. Old scandals resurface. New controversies begin. And through it all, people are watching, reacting, sharing, and debating online. I'm Kundi on Global USA News, and what we're seeing right now is not just entertainment, it's a snapshot of a country balancing celebration and conflict at the same time. One weekend can hold excitement, laughter, tension, and serious questions about accountability and power. The story doesn't slow down. The next headline is always waiting. The next vote is always coming. The next viral clip is already being edited. And as long as these events keep unfolding, we'll keep watching closely, breaking it down, and asking the questions that matter most.